Happy October, everyone. It is about a month before the election. It is the start of the last quarter of the year. It is a little crisp already after a blazing hot summer, and I couldn't be more excited. It is, in my opinion, one of the most fun times of the year. It is also the quarter where my birthday falls, but I wanted to share with you a really important message with regard to October as we move through this month and into the election and throughout the rest of the year. And it's something that I shared very early on after COVID started in 2020. And there was a lot of unknown, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of anxiety. And at first, if you know my history, you know that I kind of have a lot of experience around um, informed consent, around medical freedom, around health freedom, and around just understanding the whole picture and the whole truth, not half truths, right? And 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 very early on, I kind of sniffed that something was really foul play, and that at every step of the level of every part of the communication, there was only one acceptable narrative. And at first, all I really shared was guard your mind, guard your heart, guard your soul from the tsunami wave of fear and anxiety that is going to come your way. And it's an interesting dynamic because at the end of the day, you there was nothing, there was no way we could have predicted every aspect of what was going to go on. But for us in our community, we we started to call a lot of the shots. Like we started to see kind of how everything was going down, and we just told people about it. And we told people not just the one thing that was acceptable, we told people about the whole picture of things. And so I wanted to share that with you because we're starting to see it, right? We know it's an election year, and it's interesting that everything goes crazy in an election year. And this year, or at least this moment, we're seeing Hurricane Helene, and we're seeing this mass devastation down south, and we're seeing one administration completely ignore it, and we're seeing another administration rally all sorts of resources to come to the aid. And it's not to say for me that you should vote one way versus the other, because I think there's whole truths behind a lot of those different aspects of things. But at the core of it are people, right? There are lives that are being lost. There are homes and livelihoods that are being lost, and it's wild to watch. It's wild, and it breaks your heart to watch. And we've seen we see gunshots going off. We see assassination attempts. We see all sorts of things that are just seemingly becoming hallmark for elections in the United States. And then when it comes to November, who here believes that there's going to be some sort of counting error? And it's crazy to me, to think that here's where we are at. And what I'm going to invite you to do is exactly the same: is guard your mind, guard your heart, guard your soul against the tsunami wave of tyranny and of fear and anxiety that started then and that is continuing now. And it's not one election year to another election year. It's not one administration to another administration. It's the people behind the people behind the people behind the people pulling all the puppet strings. That, I mean, you can't do a Google search, but you do one search surrounding weather manipulation and the Southeast, and you will find enough resources. Look up Dane Wigington, um, because he is one of the most important figures who knows more than anything about geoengineering today. And you will see that for decades, they have been literally creating these weather systems. and targeting them at the United States. And so we're not in that region, but we are part of this global humanity, and especially as Americans, caring about the people from other parts of the world. But I think this is going to be one of the most wild 4 weeks, maybe in the history of our lives. And I don't know what's coming down the pike, but what I do know is that if you're not good here, and if you're not good with your spirit, with your soul, with God, then start there, right? Don't get caught up in all the hype. Don't get caught up on all the polarization. Don't get caught up in all the, crazy stuff that's going on in the world today. Get caught up first and foremost in yourself and in your family and in your core unit, in your health first. More than anything, people don't realize that your ability to respond to chaos and your ability to respond to stress and your ability to respond to emergencies is based upon your groundedness in your own nervous system. If you don't have a good ground, a foundation in your own nervous system adaptability, then it's easy to get swept up. And so I don't know where you're landing with all of this. I frankly don't care where people are voting at this point. What I care about is who you are as people. What I care about is who you are as a family. What I care about is how your nervous systems are processing and integrating all the things that are going on. And what I care about most is that your children are as safeguarded as possible, because who knows? I don't know what's coming down in the next 4 weeks or throughout the rest of the year. But what I do know is that I think they're showing a lot of these cards, and it's incredibly frustrating. But at the same time, what I know is that we are doing some amazing things for our in-person community more than ever, right? Where we actually have 2 events that are coming, where this Friday we are filming VAX3, Children's Health Defense California. The North County San Diego division of that chapter is hosting an event in our space. It's a global viewing of VAX3. If you are at any way new to the conversation about all the things that happened during COVID, I highly recommend you attend, especially if you're a parent, especially your mother. We have rumblings of 30 to 50 mothers attending this event at our new space. Why it's important is it's one of the pictures of the whole truth that I promise you, if you watch, you'll never forget it, and you'll never be able to look at a global pandemic in the same way. You'll never be able to look at mandates carte blanche across the board globally the same way. And at the end of the day, if you're already awake, it's really about finding your community and finding people of like mind and heart who are in person, in real life. And I couldn't thank Shannon from Children's Health Defense, North County, San Diego, more than, and Carol Farrar, an amazing person in our community, for bringing this together. And actually a team member of ours, Olivia Bernstein, actually making a lot of those connections, because this is who we are. We are literally about our in-person community right here, throwing our flag in the sand, saying, hey, this is another opportunity to be a part of something with this community. On the 16th, we're having one of my best friends in the world, Alex Zeck, come out and speak about terrain theory and about the complete paucity, like the lack of scientific basis for the entire field of virology. I promise you that the things that they wield at us from a healthcare perspective, from a fear perspective, are mostly about germs, about infectious disease. It created the distancing, it created those things that we put over our face, it created the things that they put in our arm, that they fast tracked. A ton of people got really, not just harmed, but worse. And the passports and segregation that they brought back, and the things that we're hearing every day about fertility, about really traumatic occurrences with birth outcomes, that I promise you are happening in those who got the thing and those who did not get the thing. I've been publishing about this for a long period of time. Alec is one of those amazing people who knows how to build the picture and build an understanding that largely is grounded in a philosophy of embodying freedom versus fighting for freedom or putting your head in the sand, which is what becomes normalized. These two events, in my opinion, plus our perfect storm at the end of the month, are three events that literally, if you were a part of and you participated in, you would be building your mental, physical, and spiritual resiliency for not only you, but your children, that regardless of what they threw at us in November, regardless of what comes at the rest of the year, you will end this month more prepared, more dialed in, and more fully expressing that inborn potential, not only for yourself, but for your kids. And I humbly invite you to participate, because I promise you, it is all about prepping the mind, prepping the body, and prepping the spirit, prepping your family for all those things from the inside out, so that you build your internal resiliency. So whatever they wield at us from the outside hits a nervous system that is grounded, that is radiant, that is at its fullest potential, and can adapt and have resiliency more optimally. Welcome to October, a deep message, but I promise you it's an important one, and I hope you take heed. Love and appreciate you all. Enjoy this newsletter.